Ryan, I'll start with you. How did you both come to get involved with Bentkey?
Well, we've known Jeremy, who founded the Daily Wire. We've known him for a long, long time. We kind of both landed in Los Angeles from our parts of the country at the same time, and we just bumped into each other, became great friends. And so years later, as he's had this big sweeping success, and he's a very forward thinker. He kind of thinks of us as his kids folks because Katy, my wife, and I, we had a kids improv studio in Los Angeles for 10 years that we ran, and we were the teachers, and we loved doing that. And so when he had this idea for Bentkey, he said, do you guys have an idea for a show? Because you're kind of my kids people right now. And we said, yes, we do. We have an idea we love. And we pitched it to him, and he said that let's do it. Let's make A Wonderful Day with Mabel Maclay. So it kind of, all the puzzle pieces fit. And it's just interesting to look back and see how it all kind of lined up through the years. Had no idea that this is where it would lead us.
Yeah, it's always fun with relationships, too, to be able to look back and see how everything connects. And when it comes to this show, Katy, A Wonderful Day with Mabel Maclay, tell us a little bit about it. For those who don't know about the show, give us sort of a little synopsis.
Sure. I play Mabel Maclay, and A Wonderful Day with Mabel Maclay is kind of just a simple, sweet show about embracing the joy of wondering. Mabel is a character who believes that life is wonderful and that it's worth wondering about. And she's joined by her really silly dog, Jasper, who's a puppet. And there are books and songs and really special guests. And we were really inspired by Mr. Rogers and a bit of Mary Poppins. And so we hope to have put all that together and made a show that kind of feels the way shows used to feel.
And there's an incredibly charismatic neighbor who looks just like me.
Yeah.
who shows up. So
a star was born.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let me ask you this, and Ryan, I'll ask you could both answer this one because it's interesting. Obviously, being a husband and wife, and then working on a project like this together. You have worked together for a long time, but how do you balance that, just like normal life and then that work-life balance, especially when it comes to something like not just creating a show, but being on the show together?
That is a great question. I don't think, man, if we weren't matched up by some higher power, I wouldn't, I don't know. I feel very unique. I feel it's like, Nolan Ryan was blessed with a fastball. I feel like we were blessed that we met each other and we laugh a lot and our sensibilities are aligned and our worldview. So for working together has been, that's kind of all we've known. And so when it came to making a project like this, it just worked. It once again worked out. We have similar tastes and her strengths aren't necessarily my strengths and mine are, they complement each other in the best way. And she's obviously, I think she's magical and she's magical with kids. And I try to bring a little of the old school vintage flair and what's going to be fun. And it works out. And there weren't any big, we just, an idea is good. We're like, yes, an idea is not good. We kind of go, yeah, it's not great. Let's move on. And I can imagine it's probably not like that in all relationships. So I feel very, very blessed that we've just kind of, we get along and we laugh through it all. And we luckily can do that while having 3 kids and they get to see it as well. So
I think we have similar likes and dislikes, but we have very different skill sets. And so I think we're really good at dividing and conquering. And he knows that I was really obsessive in this show about Mabel's language toward, for example, Jasper the puppet. How does she help him kind of regulate his emotions, things like that. And he's super visual. And so in that way, and same thing in our home, we kind of know what we're great at and lean into it and allow space for the other person to do the same.
Yeah, she wants to impart lifelong lessons to the kids. And I said, she must drive a boat car. The host must drive a boat car.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's valuable. It's valuable.
He does have all the fun ideas.
But you know what though? It's really cool that you took, a show like Mr. Rogers and you modernize, that was your inspiration, but you created something that really relates to kids today, and times change. People don't change. Nature of people, doesn't necessarily change, but times change. And you've created something that really feels new and fun, but holds on to those values that people have really come to really respect in a show like that, like Mr. Rogers. And so it's sort of fun to see that. And I have to ask you, and Katy, I'll start with you. Why do you feel this sort of entertainment is so desperately needed in the current culture today?
Well, I think that it's a show. We've tried to create something that values human connection. And I think that that's been a bit lost in kids' content, maybe in particular, like grounded, calm, sincere human connection. So we really cared about Mabel being someone who could connect to the child through the camera. And even when we see her with these special guests that come along, like in our first episode, it's Ron Block, this incredible Grammy-winning banjo player from Alison Krauss's band, and he's kind of showing her how to use a banjo. But it's not done in a way that's really performative or anything. It really is about two people connecting and how do you express different emotions on this banjo. And so that's one thing, is the way that Mabel communicates was intentional because of a gap we've seen in content that can feel kind of wild and quickly edited and has lost a sense of like warm human connection. And then do you want to speak to any other parts of that?
Yeah, well, it's just kind of the idea of that's the magic of Rogers. That was the that he's really speaking to each individual kid who's watching, and so we wanted to capture that at such a high level to shoot for. But we know that the pacing is probably a little slow, a Rogers for today. So we wanted to walk that fine line of something that a kid could sit with, but also, we don't want to put them necessarily to sleep. So we had, we added fun elements and inventions that Mabel makes, and Jasper the dog, who's just wonderful, and the guest segments. But there was this fine line of walking that. Trusting that you could hold a kid's attention by really connecting with them and not having to throw a bunch of flashing lights and quick edits and crazy music and stuff that parents want to mute because it's too clangy. So we wanted it to be hopefully a pleasurable experience for not just the kid, but hopefully the parents watching along as well. So that's what we tried to do.
Well, and one thing that I find really interesting about Bentkey, and I don't know how much you want to speak into this, but I do want to say it because there may be people who are watching or listening and they don't really understand or know that this is not a political thing, right? This is an apolitical project. It's, or platform rather. And, the show and the purpose of all of this, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I know I don't think I am, is to really provide an alternative to parents, a safe place for their kids to learn and grow and be entertained. Would I be correct in that?
Yes, for sure. I think Bentkey had a real vision for joyful, creative content that felt like it focused on kind of timeless values and things like that, and left all politics out, and went back to programming that, yes, is just centered around those things. And I know it can be a big frustration for parents to have to feel like you pre-screen content or things like that. We don't run into it a whole lot because we actually love showing our kids classics. And so they watch a lot of like Andy Griffith and I don't know, classic Disney movies and the original DuckTales. And we carefully curate like what exactly we want them to see because we love that stuff and we're into it. But I know a lot of my mom friends are like, I do not have time for that. I just want to put things on that don't feel like invasive or that I have to pre-screen things, or much less, commercials that feel violent or things like that. So I think Bentkey's vision was really just to take that whole headache out of the process of putting on some TV for your kids.
Yeah. Well, and Ryan, when you look at, A Wonderful Day with Mabel Maclay, and you look at Bentkey more generally, what is your big hope, in a year, in 5 years? Where do you want to see these projects?
Well, I hope that in the way that they seem to be doing now, they have exploded and they've put so much time and resource and careful thought, and the folks behind the scenes curating the content are working nonstop. So right now, if you get the Bentkey app, I think there's already 150 plus episodes of content that you could just pop on, and you don't have to go, oh my goodness, I have to watch all this first to decide what my kid can and can't watch. So they've done that. So I hope it just keeps exponentially going, and I hope that it frees up creatives out there to go, oh, okay, well, I didn't want to get in the political world. Us neither. We're not political people. We just wanted to make something, a little nugget of goodness we hope to put out there. And I hope it brings folks out of the woodwork that go, I was wondering was there a place to make something or a place to put my project? And I hope they see it as this because they really are. It really has been a wonderful experience for us. And their aim is exactly what they said it was, to make content that is just uplifting, that is enriching, and that you don't have to worry about. And so I hope it keeps going in the direction it's going now. I'm loving the Saturday morning cartoon initiative they're doing, the bringing back Saturday morning cartoons, where every Saturday they release new episodes of each show, including our show, A Wonderful Day with Mabel Maclay. And I love that because we had grown up Saturday morning cartoons, and we're getting to experience that with our children now, and it's been awesome.
I hope too that Bentkey is so successful, and A Wonderful Day with Mabel Maclay is so successful that it inspires more and more people to make shows like ours. And I think our show and some of the others on the platform are kind of an expression of what parents and families are really thirsty for. And so I hope that it is a smash hit, and that mainstream Hollywood and everybody wants to make more and more of this type of content.
Well, and I will say, I talked to a lot of people about this, in the industry, outside of the industry, who are sort of watching. We know that the audience is here for this sort of content. We know that this particular audience has been overlooked and sort of underserved over the years. And so it's exciting with good quality content for you guys to be coming in and doing this. And in particular, the kids' content has been very overlooked. Very few people creating that content, right? A lot of the content for adults has been out there, but this is really a new frontier, and it's exciting. And I appreciate you both joining us today to talk about it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.